July 13th, 2014, the afternoon, we received a 911 call from a woman who wanted to report her 18-year-old son missing.
What kind of truck does he drive?
Ford 250. It's a diesel, big black, and it's got a bunch of stickers on the back window.
I was really concerned that something happened to him.
18-year-old Conrad Roy is a recent high school graduate. He grew up in the seaside town of Mattapoisett, Massachusetts. Conrad is also a native of New England and comes from a long line of sea captains. Conrad just got his captain's license, a rare feat for a young man of 18.
I do have a lot going for me, like I'm a captain. I just got a job from the Boston Duck Tours to captain their boat. Like, that's a huge accomplishment to be a captain.
Conrad was dealing with a lot of insomnia. He had trouble sleeping, and his anxiety and depression made him feel like he was a failure, which he was not.
Which is why Lynn worries when she doesn't hear from Conrad for over 12 hours.
I messaged him before I went to bed and just wanted to know what time he would be home, and he didn't answer right away. And I woke up maybe 2 in the morning and messaged him again. And then I fell back asleep, and in the morning, his truck wasn't there. I panicked. So when Officer Correa came to the house, I explained to him Conrad's history of depression and anxiety.
Lynn had told me that he had had thoughts of suicide in the past, that he was on medication, and that he had been treated for an overdose some months before. That's a concern. And I felt a sense of urgency that couldn't put it on the back burner. Not this particular case.
818 to all cars in the station. Be ready to copy a bolo. This is for a missing 18-year-old boy. It's going to be stop and check the welfare. Mail is going to be a Conrad Roy.
Correa searches for close to 4 hours and comes up empty.
Out of the corner of my eye, I see the black Ford F-250. I'm hoping that I find the young man either asleep inside the vehicle or not in the vehicle. And as soon as I walk up to the truck and I see him inside, I realize right away that the situation is hopeless. My emotions gut me for a second, and then I slipped into professional mode.
Correa searches the body for some identification.
I was able to find his driver's license, and I was able to confirm that it was indeed Conrad Roy. His skin color was mottled. That was an indication to me of some sort of poisoning. And you could vaguely smell that sickly sweet smell of internal combustion engine.
Police discover a portable generator stuffed in the back of the truck. It appears to Correa that Conrad has killed himself with the carbon monoxide fumes from the generator. 3 days later, detectives get the medical examiner's report. It confirms Officer Correa's on-scene observation. Conrad died from carbon monoxide poisoning. But there's more.
After reviewing Officer Correa's report, I learned that the cell phone had been retrieved from the vehicle.
It takes 3 days to unlock Conrad's phone. When Detective Gordon finally opens it, he's shocked.
I didn't expect to find something like that on the phone. It showed that maybe there was more to the story. There was only one thread on the phone, and that was with a female.
The person on the other end was a girl from Plainville, Mass. By the name of Michelle Carter, who was also a teenager. Michelle came from a very normal family, lived in a nice, upscale type of neighborhood.
Even though Conrad and Michelle both lived in Massachusetts, they met in Florida while on vacation. Conrad was 16 at the time. Michelle was 15.
She lived 45 minutes away from, his hometown, and so they saw each other a few times through the years after that.
While they seemed to have real feelings for each other, Conrad and Michelle's romance was mostly virtual.
They only saw each other 1 or 2 times after the initial meeting in Florida. They had never really spent much time face-to-face physically.
Detectives Gordon and Cudmore scroll through the messages Michelle sent Conrad in the days leading up to his suicide. The more they read, the more they realize this is no ordinary suicide.
There were thousands of text messages between Conrad and Michelle.
I'll always remember that sat there and I looked at him and I said, it's my opinion, but without her influence, he's alive today. And Scott said the same exact thing.
Most of the text messages in the last 2 weeks prior to his death were encouraging him and assisting him and telling him that he had to commit suicide.
To us, it started to feel not like a suicide and more of some sort of manslaughter, but we didn't quite know where the legal line was drawn.
Well, in Massachusetts, there's no clear law that prevents someone from counseling suicide. Just the initial gut feeling of reading those texts, I knew it was wrong, what was being said.
Detectives' search of the phone also shows Conrad and Michelle spoke twice the night Conrad died, each call lasting more than 40 minutes.
But unfortunately, through the call logs, we don't get the content of the conversation. We were just wondering if she was there trying to tell him to stop or if she was there trying to tell him to do it.
A few weeks later, Michelle sends Lynn a message that has a different tone. The message concerns this grieving mother.
It sounds like she knew he was feeling suicidal. I thought that was a red flag, and I just alerted the detective, Scott.
So those words to Lynn, a grieving mother, to us was frustrating and just kind of fueled our fire to continue our investigation.
We have a search warrant for your phone, okay? So we'll be taking it.
Wait, so you're taking my phone?
Yes.
For what reason?
We're gonna explain it all to you. So if you want to go out, we could go out and talk to your father right now.
She knew that at that point that this was for real.
Michelle's father cooperates with the detectives. They take Michelle's cell phone and computer and dig in.
Just in Michelle's phone alone, there was over 50,000 items to look at, including text messages, different chat platforms that she was on.
After searching through those 50,000 messages, detectives find a single text that changes everything.
One of the texts showed that she knew what she did.
He got out of the truck. He wanted to live, and she was able to, without even physically being there, she was able to coach him back into that truck.
After 7 months of thorough investigation, Michelle is arrested and charged with involuntary manslaughter. 3 years after Conrad's death, Michelle Carter stands trial. Both sides will argue a question that only the judge can answer. Can words be used as a deadly weapon?
It was a simple narrative that Michelle Carter fed on his love for her to get what she wanted, which was for him to kill himself so that she could become popular and she could finally have the circle of friends that she'd always dreamed of having.
The defense cross-examines. They claim Michelle cared deeply about Conrad and that she was also struggling with her mental health.
If there was any kind of behavior on the part of Michelle, it was no doubt influenced by the issues that she has. There were some mental health issues on the part of both Michelle and Conrad.
Michelle's friends testify that she had an eating disorder and was plagued by suicidal thoughts. Building off this testimony, prosecutors turned the judge's attention to the last 2 weeks of Conrad's life, when Michelle had repeatedly urged him to kill himself.
What does she say to Conrad?
Hang yourself, jump off a building, stab yourself.
IDK. There's lots of ways.
After Michelle goads him, "I don't think you really wanted," Conrad replies with 6 simple words.
He was clearly pumping the brakes, and she was the one that was constantly just wouldn't let up and really berating him and making him feel like if you fail at this again, then you're really a nothing.
In Michelle's defense, her lawyers point out that Michelle was some 40 miles away when Conrad killed himself. As the trial's 3rd day winds down, the prosecution stakes out a new and compelling argument. They say there was another side to Conrad Roy.
Bye.
One with much more hope. And they have the evidence to prove it.
The sooner I like myself, the better I'm going to be. Like, I have a lot going. I do have a lot going for me.
Seeing the video of my son talking and his expressions and his voice, it is so incredibly painful. And all I could think when I watched this video is this boy, he wants to live.
I got a nice smile.
The prosecution uses the videos to prove that Conrad was taking steps to win the fight against his inner demons.
It just never happened because, unfortunately, Michelle Carter was in his ear.
After playing Conrad's tapes, the prosecution rests. The next day, Michelle's defense team mounts their case.
The defense began by addressing Conrad's own attempts to take his life and his own desire to take his life.
Just like the prosecution used the digital records to make their case against Michelle Carter, the defense, of course, did the same with Conrad Roy, and there was a lot there.
Ms. Carter, please stand. This court now finds you guilty.
I felt a sense of peace. My son was heard, and his voice was heard. And for me, that is, that's victory.
Michelle Carter is the first person to be convicted of involuntary manslaughter in the state without being at the crime scene.